Well, welcome YouTube to Rooster Hollow. In the last video that we did of planting our plants, some seeds, I showed you some of the seeds that we did. As you know, a lot of these came up. They're really nice. Those great big ones, those are the cantaloupes and watermelons. They did really, really well. They're losing their bottom leaves, so it's time to transplant them. And I showed you the okra, and we put some more in, and they're just now starting to come up. But out of that bunch, we got two. They're very old seeds. They're probably like 5 years old. That's why we're having problems getting them to come in. And that's why it's really good to actually put them on a baggie, a wet baggie, put them in a plastic bag, put them on a heat pad, and you can actually see which seeds are coming up and stuff. But that's an eggplant there. I know it's a cilantro, but the cilantro didn't come up. So I kind of reused the thing real quick, and that's an eggplant, and that's an eggplant. Everything else did pretty good. That's an oregano. I still got a seed. It's just now starting to come up. We lost a bunch. So let me show you. Those are all gone. We put those in the other one. So we lost a bunch. All of those did not come up. We're going to reseed them now. And so you'll get to see us doing that. And it's time to start our tomatoes and stuff. So we got all the little K-cups ready to do all of our seeds. These are from last year that we use for some tomatoes. The mortgage lifters and stuff, that's from last year. So we reuse them, but this year we decided, as you see, they're not doing so good. They're in pretty rough shape. It's been 3 years. They've held up. But so this year we decided that we're going to go with plastic. So we have a couple different options here. We're going to start the tomatoes in the K-cup, which are nice and small. Then we're going to go to this size cup, which is, what size are these? I don't know. They're not very big. So, 9 fluid ounce cups. And we got these at Dollar General. 56 cups, $2 for the smaller ones. And then we also got these at Dollar General. And these are 100 plastic cups for $5. They had 16 cups for $1. So if you figure it all out, it came to like 7 cents a cup. These come out to like 5 cents a cup. So we went with 100 of them, and we actually got more than just that. We got 2 more sitting over there and 1 more little set. And the first thing we have to do, as you see, Desiree's helping us. We're putting holes in the bottom of all these little 9-ounce cups. And that way we can set those right into our trays. And that's what they're doing, getting all those ones done. We'll then put those into the trays here, and that way you could just put water in the tray and it will wick up into the cup. These ones we're going to be doing a little bit differently. These all have holes at the bottom, so it does the same thing. You put them in there, it wicks up. This year we're going to be using 2 cups per plant, so we don't have to put them into a aluminum tray. And it's really good to use aluminum trays when you're using the little cups or the K-cups, because they kind of nicely sit in there. They don't get all moved around. It's easy to water them all at one time. It works out really good. But when they get really big, and that's what these are for. So the tomatoes will start there, and then we'll take them out of there and we'll put them into the 9-ounce cup. The 9-ounce cup will allow us to sink them all the way down to the bottom and fill it all the way up with dirt. And we'll show you that when we go to restart them. And then from there, we can put them into here, which again, same thing. They will be at the bottom, and then we can fill it all the way up with dirt, and it'll allow the stems to get nice and thick and become more sturdy of a plant when we go to put them outside. So for today, we are doing all of our seeds. everything needs to be planted. Today is the 16th of March. So I got all the seeds out. All those have to get replanted. So you're probably wondering, well, what happened over here? Was the seeds bad? Or we had a little problem about 2.5, 3 weeks ago. We had a really bad storm in which we lost power for about 3 days.
I need to make sure I did all 5.
And in losing power, although our wood burner does put off pretty good heat and stuff, it's not capable of heating the entire house and keep it at a good temperature. And without power, we also didn't have the heat mats. So not having the heat mats, all of them got cold. The temperature in the house ended up down to 17 degrees, and we ended up having to leave the house because it was just way too cold to stay here. So we did. We lost all those plants. Some of them did come back. We ended up moving them, but those ones all need to get replanted. That's also on the agenda today. So let's go ahead and get started. Well, these guys are just now finishing up. And let's get started. Alright, so I went through all of the seeds that we're going to be doing. Some of this is direct sow. So some of the things that will be just direct sowing, and that means it doesn't get planted until the weekend of Mother's Day is our planting time for our area. We are zone 6B. Actually, we're right on 6A, 6B zoning. So ours is always considered the weekend of Mother's Day is the weekend that you put all your plants in. That's all the transplants in, and also is when you can actually direct sow like your cucumbers and things like that without having to worry about frost. That's our last frost. So some of the things that we'll be direct sowing out in the garden would be our lettuces. So we have iceberg lettuce. We have a lettuce mix, which is a little bit of arugula and other leafy greens. Cucumbers, radishes, all that would be direct sow. Our parsnips and beets will be directly sowed. Anything that's a root vegetable, you want to direct sow that right into the garden. You do not want to start them out in these little cups because root vegetables do not like being transplanted. Yes, you can do it. I'm not going to say you can't. You can. But you will end up finding that you will have better, stronger plants faster if you direct sow the seed directly into the garden and let them come up there than if you did a little transplant, transplanted it out to the garden. It usually takes like 1 to 2 weeks for it to settle in before it starts to grow again. In those 2 weeks, you will have already a plant that's already got its roots going into the ground, that it's already coming up, and you will find that if you do a transplant of a root vegetable, and I did this with beets, you do a transplant of a beet and you direct sow a beet, the direct sow beet, even though you started it on, weeks later, it will outperform the transplant every time. So that's why we don't do any root vegetables. Will actually be direct sow. So that means, your radishes, your beets, your carrots, all that stuff. We got carrots here. All of that will be direct sow into the ground, into our garden when the time comes for them to go in. Now, some of this stuff will be direct sowed early. Some of it will be direct sowed later. Lettuces and spinach like cold weather. They could get a frost and it won't hurt them. So that stuff will be direct sowed into our garden in the middle of April. In the middle to mid to late April is when we actually can put those in. And not have to worry about a really heavy hard frost, because if you have a really hard frost, lettuce doesn't like it. try and take lettuce and throw it in the freezer and then pull it out and it's like mush. So those are some of the things you just got to think about. We're going to be redoing our herbs. That's basically what most of our stuff that did not come up ended up being herbs. And it was thyme, oregano, parsley, and what was the other one? Cilantro and marjoram. So those are the ones that did not do well and kind of died off when we ended up losing our power. So we'll be redoing those. Today we are going to plant some purple tomatillos. We got one eggplant that
That's mushroom.
one eggplant has 2 plants in it. So we're going to be splitting those so that we have 2 eggplants. I'm going to go ahead and do another one. And hopefully maybe get 2 more plants out of the deal. I think we lost, I always plant 2 seeds in every single cup because they don't always come up. See, here we have cabbage, 2 of them came up. But here's one, there was 2 planted, but only 1 came up. Here, 2 planted, only one came up. And since these are really small yet, I can still split these into 2 cups and still be okay. So that's what we're also going to do today is split some of these. All of the watermelons, that's what these are, that are doing really good. We'll split those right now also, so we'll have, there's 4. And the cantaloupe is already starting to lose their first leaves, so we will split those and separate those up too. And those will actually go into our smaller cups. So just one of the things I wanted to show you is how we're going to be doing our cup thing. For the tomatoes, we're just going to have a hole in the bottom. But here we have a cup. It's our cantaloupe. And there's a hole at the bottom. And then we have another cup that we have it written on cantaloupe. No hole. And what we do is we just take the one that has a hole, put it in the one that does. There's a little bit of space in there, which is fine. But that way when we water it, it doesn't leak or anything. And that's what we do. We just, it's double the cups, but since we are using plastic, it will sit there and actually do really good. They will be fine. I lost my train of thought. Anyways. So today, purple tomatillos, eggplant. Beans are a direct sow, by the way. Beans are another one that they come up so fast and they produce so fast that you really do not need to start them indoors. If you don't have to start something indoors, then you really don't want to. It just takes up more space. You're going to need more lighting. You're going to need all that. We have Hungarian yellow wax peppers. These are a medium hot pepper that I use and pickle them with some sauerkraut in. And these are great snacks. So we'll be planting some of those. We're going to be planting some mini peppers. These are the tiny little yellow, orange, and red peppers that if you go to Aldi's or Walmart, you'll see these tiny little peppers. They come in a bag, all different colors. That's what these are. We really enjoy those because they're great in all kinds of dishes. So I got some and I keep been saving my seeds for it. We got some sweet banana peppers. We're going to be planting those today. We have some Corn de Toro sweet peppers. These again are really big. About the same size as the Hungarian wax tomatoes or peppers. But these peppers are sweet peppers. They are not hot. So we again enjoy these. We're going to be doing, let's see here, some stevia. We got to replant the stevia. None of the stevia came up. We have just some regular bell peppers, and we will do the regular bell peppers. Cucumbers again is a direct one, and let's see what else we have here. All right, and then we have our tomatoes. So some of the tomatoes that we're going to be doing,
Oh, never mind.
we bought these last year to plant last year, and they did not do really well. But in our area, it was the wettest season on record for our area. We got, our normal area gets, I want to say, like 27 inches of rain a year through the summer, spring, summer, and or maybe it's 20 inches. I think it might be 20 inches. But this year we got like over 40 inches of rain. It was just, it was a wet year. So in looking at everybody's posts out on Facebook and some of my friends and stuff out there, nobody's tomatoes did really, really good. I haven't seen anybody's tomatoes in my area that did really, really good. So I don't want to blame the tomato itself. So we are going to give these another try this year. We are not going to just plant these. Last year, that's what we did. We just planted these. We have a Amish paste, which is a heirloom seed. And very, very little seeds in there. It is mostly paste. And I'm going to hold that still so you can kind of see it. So that's what we're going to do for that. And then we have a mortgage lifter. And the mortgage lifter, if I remember right, comes all the way back to 1880s. And it's called the mortgage lifter because the guy who started this tomato, he actually paid his mortgage off selling them. So it's called the mortgage lifter. So this one is another one, very, very little seed. It's a very large tomato. It would be great for sauces and also great for just a tomato sandwich. That's our favorite. But these are 1 to 2 pounds, and they are pink. They won't get real red, but they are a pink tomato. And then we have a few other ones here. So let me first, before somebody yells and screams, because I got a few people out there that, I know watch this, and please don't play with that with my gloves. And they are all about heirloom. So let me explain a little bit about an heirloom and a Burpee Big Boy, which is a hybrid. A hybrid tomato is a tomato that if you were to take the seeds from this tomato and replant them the next year, you will not get the exact same tomato, because it is a hybrid between 2 different plants to make this plant. Hybrids take a long time. They take 8, 9, 10 years to actually stabilize. And once they do become stabilized, though, they actually become an heirloom. How do you think heirlooms came about? Heirlooms came from hybrid. Having too many tomatoes close together, they cross-pollinate, you get a hybrid on the seeds. So that's why if you're going to plant like a Burpee Big Boy next to a mortgage lifter, they will cross-pollinate each other. And you will, if you end up saving the seeds from either one, you will not get one or the other. So if you're planning on saving seeds, you're going to want to make sure that they are far enough away from your other ones in order to be able to make sure that you're going to get the same plant the following year if you're planning on saving seeds. So that's what we are going to do. We will be saving seeds. Do I care if they are mix and match? Truthfully, I do not. I actually find that they do really good, and when I do save seeds and replant, I get a really good tomato. I have not had any problems at all doing it this way. So these are just some of the ones. We have Amish Paste, Mortgage Lifter, Burpee Big Boys, Super Beefsteak, Tomato Beefsteaks, Romas, and more Beefsteak, Big Boy, and Roma. So those are all the ones we're going to be doing. One I do really like is a Ruger, and the reason I like the Rugers is because you get a large clump. I mean, they come in clumps like this, and they might be a smaller tomato, but you get a clump of them, and there's like 12 altogether. And those are really, really nice to do. And I'm hoping to try and get a Ruger to cross-pollinate with like a beefsteak or something like that. To give me a smaller tomato than a beefsteak, but not but have a whole bunch of them, because I know if I have a beefsteak, they're really, really big. I'm not going to get 12 in a row. It would end up breaking the plant. So some of the other things that we will be planting that are going to be later on, we are going to be planting some glass gem corn. This can be used for popping corn. This can be used for decoration. This can be done for people using for jewelry and crafts and things like that. So we will be doing some of that, and we also will be doing some zucchini. That's a direct seed. More green beans. We have a yellow sweet corn. So here's an example. I have a yellow sweet corn from 2015. And then I have a yellow sweet corn. This is from 2016. And if you actually look at the two, you will see that the 2015 are much, much smaller in size than the 2016. And the reason I save them as I go is because, again, cross-pollination. This is more to what I planted the first year, because that's when I started corn, is in 2015. And then when it cross-pollinated in 2016, I got a bigger one. But that's to say that this might actually be GMO, which I don't care because I don't use Roundup. We'll get into that later at another time. I'm not going to do that right now. But we have some butternut squash and more lettuces, romaine lettuce and radishes and summer crookneck squash and butter crunch lettuce, some summer blend squash which are like 4 different types, and then some more spinach. And these are all going to be direct sowed. So I am done with that. Pumpkin, direct sowed. And we're going to go ahead and get started with this. So Darren's already got my wet paper towel and a baggie. We just put some more okra seeds down. I'm going to separate them, make sure they're nice and separate so we can see them. But that's going to go right onto the heating mat. Cross our fingers. We're going to get a couple more plants. And we're going to go ahead and get started. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm not going to bore you going through the whole entire thing on every single one of these. But let's go ahead and we'll start with the Brussels sprouts. So we already have it written down, Brussels sprouts, but we use permanent marker. But if you ever need to remove this stuff, just get a magic eraser. It comes right off beautifully. No scrubbing needed. So we have it marked already, Brussels sprouts. I have all of my soil here, and this was mixed from what was left over in those other ones. So I'm just going to give this a nice little mix here. There we go. That looks pretty good. And I usually try and put all of them in at one time, and I just fill them. And I cross off the top like that. And the reason I do that is just so when they don't get overfilled. And so that's Brussels, and I'm going to hand it over to him. And what he does is he uses a pencil. Show him the pencil. Make sure that there's a tip on it. I know, but make sure it has a tip on it. It's been sharpened. And that way it can just punch down in there. Don't worry about it. They do not use lead in lead pencils anymore. That's back in the olden days. Now it's just basically. But he's going to plant 2 seeds in each and every one of these in hopes that we get at least one. And that's, you don't have to do that, but we do it only because some of these seeds are older. Last year we didn't have a very big garden. Basically all we had was onions and tomatoes, and nothing did good. So we got no seeds at all last year. So all of our seeds are at least 2 years old. So we will, and although a lot of these seeds are good for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, what do they call it? The rate that they come up.
Oh, germination rate.
Germination rate. Yes, thank you. The germination rate every year goes down. So yes, you could save your seeds for 10 years, and out of 5 seeds, only one of them might be actually germinate and give you something. So that's why we plant 2 in every single one of them, in hopes that once they do come up, this year, since we are running low and I didn't have a garden last year, I will let all of these go to seed after we have harvested. The last of it will go to seed. I will save any seeds like from zucchini and stuff like that for next year's. And that's simply just to be able to have newer seeds and good seeds.
Is that still Brussels sprouts?
No, that's all the Brussels right there. All done. This is Summer Savory. So I'm going to hand him over the Summer Savory, and he's going to go ahead and get those put in. And do some thyme. And you notice I don't pack these. You don't want to pack them. I just basically throw them in. I pat, but I do not pack. I'm not like pushing down really hard or anything on them. You don't want to do that because, again, you want the soil to be loose enough that the young plants can actually get their roots all the way down through it, and have a healthy plant. That's the whole main thing. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to finish all these off, and I want to do one for our cabbage. So here I have cabbage. I want to show you how we split. So I'm only going to fill this up about halfway with soil, again, real loosely. And we have a cabbage here. We have 2 of them in it. And what I do is I will literally just grab it in here, and I just slowly work back and forth. See how I was able to keep all of the roots. So I don't know if you can see that, but all of the roots are still there. I didn't break any. And the same thing with this one. All of the roots are still there. So don't worry about all of this. Actually, this one's got a little bit more than I was expecting. Let's pop that out and just put a little bit in there. And pop that down in there. And as I'm holding it, I'm just going to lightly put some soil around it. Don't worry about picking it up by the leaves. You're better off picking a plant up by the leaves than you are picking it up and holding the roots. There's the salts and oils from your hands will actually damage the roots. Put that one in there. Again, just a little bit of soil in there. And I'm just going to grab it, pick it up, drop it in. Now, when you go to split plants like this, and you have 2 of them, you want to split into one. You want to do it when they're still little. Do not let them get too big. These are still little. The first leaves have just faded. That's when you want to do it. Sage, and you see that it's already gotten, its first leaves aren't even withered or anything. So if there was another one, I would leave it still until the first leaves withered away. Eggplant is one of those that actually does have little fine hairs, And they're really, really hard to see. I cannot even get it to even be able to see it because I could barely see it. You can actually see the little hairs and stuff on there. But if you look at, let's say, a sage, or if you're looking at a cabbage, there is no hairs at all on that stem. So therefore, when you go to transplant and you're going to split these, make sure you put it right to where it was before. And that way you'll have a good, healthy plant. Other than that, I'm going to go ahead and start with all of this and get this all done. And I'll bring you back when we're just about finished. Other than that, I'm going to go ahead and start with all of this and get this all done. And I'll bring you back when we're just about finished. All right, well, there we go. Everything's done. There are a total of 80 tomatoes. Actually, there's 2 seeds in every one of them. So there's actually 160 tomato plants. Some of these we will be raising just to sell. And the others, 80 of them, we will be planting. So anything over the, if there's 2 in each one, basically one's ours and then the other one will be sold. We went ahead and did all of the herbs that we had to replant. Down here, we replanted all of the melons. Got them done. We just put this in, so when we turned on the heating pad, it's still warped. It was cold. Once it heats up, it'll lay flat. And then those are all the ones that you saw before. Peppers, we have 46 pepper plants. That's including all the peppers: banana peppers, hot banana, sweet banana, mini peppers, green peppers, and we also did 20 tomatillos, and I think that's all we did. That's oh, and a couple more eggplant we did actually was able to do. Everything else is going to be directly sowed, so we are pretty much done. I did put in an order for some onion plants, not onion sets. If you do onion sets, that's for like green tomatoes or green onions or something. Scallions, whatever you want to call them. But onion plants are what we ordered because we grow actual tomato or onions. I'm sorry, onion plants is what we ordered. Anyways, I went ahead and put in some more okra, hoping that that's going to do good. And we'll have a couple more. Right now we only have 2 and one doesn't look that great. So we're hoping to have a few more. But there you go. We're all done. We got the second shelf going, which is probably heated up enough. Oh, see? Yep. Heated up enough that it'll go down. And I store everything up there. So those are all of the cups and stuff that we haven't used yet. Some of the other stuff that still hasn't been used. This is stuff for later. I don't know. I have kids. I have a 19-year-old and I have a 11-year-old daughter, and I also have my grandson living with us who is 10. And if you don't put stuff up, they will use them and they would go in the trash. And I just, instead of just getting the cup out and washing it. So anyways, we are finished. Thank goodness. If you have any questions or anything, let me know. If you're not sure how to grow something, or if there's something different you want to grow, I've grown just about everything. Ground cherries, garden huckleberry. I mean, I've done it all. So there's only a couple things that we're doing this year, which is direct sow out to the garden that I have never grown before. So that's going to be kind of new. We're going to be doing some wheat and sorghum. Something different. And, but anyways, if you want to see more, we'll be transplanting all of our plants once they get big enough, and also the tomatoes. And I'll do some videos on that. And anyways, if you like what you see, hit the like button and subscribe. Thanks. Bye-bye.